Um, you know when you fall asleep on the couch and you wake up right in the middle of a gritty, like, incredibly intense action comedy movie?
Oh yeah, totally disorienting.
Right.
Yeah.
You're frantically trying to piece together reality from context clues, and the main character is like mid-panic attack, sirens are blaring, and the narrative whiplash is just absolute.
You just dropped right into the chaos.
Exactly. And that profound disorientation is basically the psychological state we are dropped into on page 1 of the narrative poem, $19. So welcome to today's deep dive, where we are unpacking this single, fast-paced poem that reads, honestly, like a surreal action movie script.
It really does. I mean, the whole mission today is exploring how this protagonist's chaotic internal monologue drives the narrative. We're diving straight into a mind where the internal compass is just completely shattered.
Yeah, and it forces you to ask a really uncomfortable question right out of the gate, like how much of the chaos in our lives is actually happening to us and how much are we just generating ourselves?
Right, because our baseline reality is built on paranoia.
Yeah.
And the narrator, well, he doesn't try to hide his unreliability at all.
No, not even a little bit. We first meet him at this completely mundane gas station, and he's receiving this deeply uncomfortable hug and condolences from someone he barely remembers.
Yeah, and his internal reaction isn't just confusion, right? It's a confession that his entire threat assessment system is broken.
He openly admits that a while back an accident happened and something inside him just went dead, which is such a dark way to put it.
It is. He actually describes the pain in his head as being hit like John Kennedy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is such a specific, violent metaphor. He's not just saying he has a headache. I mean, he's basically saying his reality was assassinated.
Exactly. And he follows that up by mentioning a past of deep drug addiction, noting that his memories are so blurred, he's essentially just operating on instinct.
Right. Like he says he's broadcasting nervous wavelengths to everyone around him, which, going back to that movie theater analogy, if our guide admits his brain is broken, how are we supposed to piece together reality? Like, how does this memory loss set the stakes for the rest of the story?
Well, it completely establishes his intense paranoia.
Hmm.
The Kennedy line is vital because it casts him as a victim of sudden, catastrophic disruption.
Makes sense.
When you experience trauma that severe, the brain's primary objective shifts entirely to survival, even when there's no active threat.
Yeah, he mentions feeling like people are glaring at him as if he's openly carrying a pistol.
Right. That's a textbook hypervigilance response. The environment is neutral. I mean, it's literally
That's
just a
right.
gas station. But his internal software is registering high-level threats everywhere.
Kind of makes me think of a faulty smoke detector. Like if you have a smoke detector that goes off every single time you make toast, you eventually just stop trusting your environment.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
The alarm in your head is real, the noise is real, but the house isn't actually on fire. The narrator's smoke detector is screaming because of his past guilt, so he assumes everyone else can hear it too.
He's wearing this invisible sign that says, "I'm guilty of something," which completely primes him for disaster when a real moral test suddenly appears.
And that test hits him hard. Driven by that weird encounter at the gas station, his memory is suddenly jogged by fresh scars on his legs, which catapults us right into a flashback at a bookstore.
This is where we see his internal paranoia project outward onto a large group of people.
The scene is so frantic. A loudspeaker announcement reveals a wallet full of money is missing, and instantly the store just devolves into pandemonium.
Yeah, he describes the other customers dropping to the floor, right? Just crawling around, acting like clairvoyants, trying to divine the location of this cash.
His contempt for the crowd is so palpable. He actually calls them an idiot village going around in circles.
I love that phrase.
Right. And he uses this incredibly cynical metaphor, breaking down the central theme of karma and the carrot and the stick. He asks if they are helping, or just rabbits aiming, chasing pointlessly after a hanging, big, dangling carrot.
Which is such a brilliant study in psychological projection. Our protagonist cannot fathom that anyone in that store is searching for the wallet out of, pure altruism.
Yeah, I have to push back on his cynicism a bit, though. I mean, is altruism really dead? Or is he just projecting his own guilt onto the crowd? It feels like a reality TV show.
What do you mean?
Like everyone claims they're there for the right reasons, but really they just want the prize money. Is he disgusted by them, or is he just terrified by the sudden introduction of a high-stakes temptation?
Because he knows his own moral compass is broken.
Exactly.
Because his baseline is built on guilt and a history of bad decisions, he looks at the crowd and assumes their motives are entirely self-serving.
He fundamentally does not believe in grace. He only believes the universe is transactional.
Yes. Which makes the poem's meta-twist so effective.
Oh, the part with you. Let's get into that.
Right. In the middle of all this frantic searching, the text directly addresses the reader. It identifies you as a girl standing outside by her car.
Totally removed from the idiot village. You're just quietly blowing smoke rings, eating a donut. And because the universe has a very dark sense of humor, you are the one who actually finds the wallet in the trash.
By placing the reader in the shoes of the aloof observer who finds the money, the poem really highlights the chaotic, pointless energy of the crowd inside. It forces this moment of stillness.
But man, that stillness evaporates the second the protagonist takes possession of the wallet. The story pivots from this philosophical dilemma to a full-blown panic attack.
The biological glitch of his trauma takes complete control. He's holding the wallet, and his eyes immediately lock onto a security camera.
He says, "God damn it, surely pointed right at you. Go fucking figure. The smoke detector is now shrieking. The house isn't on fire." I mean, he literally just found a lost item, but his brain jumps straight to, "I am a criminal caught in the act."
Notice how his mind frantically searches for evidence to justify the panic, too. He fixates on a piece of gum he had been chewing.
Oh, right. The gum.
Yeah, he has this nervous habit of twirling the gum with his tongue in his finger, and he spit it out nearby. Suddenly, he is paralyzed by the certainty that some imaginary Mr. Detective is going to find it.
He thinks they'll pull perfect fingerprints from chewed gum. It's wildly irrational.
It's a huge leap of logic, but in a state of extreme hyperarousal, the brain demands a narrative to match the physiological terror it's experiencing.
The mechanics of that are so fascinating. He needs the punishment to validate his guilt. He's basically creating the stick to beat himself with.
Before anyone else can. And because his brain has convinced his body that he is moments away from being locked up, his fight or flight response malfunctions in the most spectacular way possible.
He runs. He just completely sprints. And the physical comedy of his escape is amazing. He describes his arms and legs twerking like a flurry, running at record-breaking speed.
Only to trip hard over a parking block and savagely skin both knees.
Which gives him the fresh scars from the gas station. The timeline snaps together perfectly there. But the fall is just the start of his problems.
Right, because then the taser incident happens.
Yeah. He's on the ground, and he feels his brain get jolted. The imagery is so surreal, he compares it to being electrocuted by lasers or hit by Harry Potter magic.
He even smells burning and wonders if it's his own skin or a slow-cooking wild turkey.
A wild turkey. I mean, it takes a second to realize, oh, the cop shot him with a taser. Which makes me wonder, going back to that biological fight or flight glitch, was the taser even necessary given he was already injured?
Well, from a law enforcement perspective, the visual is pretty straightforward. A man sprints out of a store where a theft was just reported, running with a level of desperation that screams guilt.
So his sheer velocity just made him look like a massive threat. He literally manifested his own worst fear.
Exactly. He ran himself into a 50,000-volt punishment. And the medic who arrives in the ambulance just adds insult to injury.
Oh yeah, the medic compares his run to Forrest Gump. He points out the tragic irony, patching up this guy who ruined himself physically and legally, all for $19.
Hence the title of the poem, $19. The monetary value of the carrot is so low, which makes the severity of the stick, the taser, the cuffs, seem almost cosmically cruel.
It's a massive escalation, going from finding a wallet to running like a fugitive. But then, while our guy is handcuffed on the ground, bleeding and terrified, the tone shifts drastically.
It really does. He overhears this incredibly bizarre, surreal conversation between two police officers on a walkie-talkie.
It is unhinged office drama. One officer is surprised the dead vandal, as he calls him, survived the taser, but then he immediately pivots to complaining about grabbing donuts.
And his chief breathing down his neck. The cop launches into this hyper-specific rant over a $10,000 milk carton ad featuring his own drawings.
A $10,000 milk carton ad while our guy is bleeding on the pavement. The juxtaposition is insane. And then they discuss this convoluted office politics misunderstanding.
Right, the cop hears noise coming from the chief's office. A new hire was brought in, and the cop's immediate reaction is that the bosses are plotting to fire him.
Because he thinks he has, quote, too small of a dick and was banging the chief's wife. I mean, what?
It's hilarious, but the parallel here is structurally brilliant. The police officer is experiencing the exact same psychological glitch as the protagonist.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, The cop hears noise and immediately projects a paranoid worst-case scenario where he is the victim of a grand conspiracy.
Oh, wow, you're right. He's trapped in his own distorted reality, too. Because the reality is actually so banal. The new hire is just planning a secret retirement party for the chief.
Exactly. And when his partner naturally laughs at him over the radio, it triggers this deeply insecure, hypermasculine defense mechanism.
Oh my God, the Santa Claus flex.
Yes, he launches into this defensive rant about his prowess with women, describing himself escaping like a phantom boss up the chimney on some Santa Claus shit.
Which is just so absurd. It's like being trapped in a high-stakes life-or-death thriller. But the background music is suddenly a sitcom laugh track.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
It serves to heighten the protagonist's isolation and helplessness. The authority figures who hold his fate in their hands are entirely distracted by ridiculous office gossip.
It emphasizes how little his personal tragedy means to the universe. There is no grand design punishing him. He's just collateral damage.
Which sets the stage for the final, devastating twist of the narrative.
Right, because snacking back from the absurd cop banter to his grim reality, the tension just peaks. He starts frantically begging for his freedom.
He hits absolute rock bottom.
Yeah, thinking his life is over, he's yelling, promising to give blood and go to church if they just let him go. He is offering these massive acts of penance.
He is offering his soul to balance the karmic scales. He still assumes he has been found guilty by the universe, right?
Yeah, but then the cop suddenly interrupts him with the big reveal. He says, "We were just messing with you, man," as a stunt.
The irony there is so thick. The police didn't think he was stealing the wallet. They actually thought he was running after the owner to return it.
They thought he was an accidental hero. They're heaping praise on his good service, marveling at how fast he ran, saying he blasted off like NASA.
They interpreted his panicked flight as an act of aggressive altruism.
They even promise him an award from the new chief. But then I have to ask, did the protagonist actually intend to steal the wallet? Or did his deep-seated guilt and paranoia just make him look and feel guilty?
That's the million-dollar question. It all ties back to the carrot and stick and those karmic themes.
Right, because the ultimate irony is he got tasered and cuffed, but he's being hailed as a hero. They even bet him whatever money is in the wallet that he can't get out of the handcuffs.
The universe actually rewarded his confusing attempt to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But because of his internal chaos, the reward was delivered via a taser and a pair of handcuffs.
He had to process the universe's reward through a filter of pain, which is just, man, what a wild journey.
It really is.
I mean, to recap, we went from blurred memories at the gas station, through a cynical search party at the bookstore, to a paranoid sprint, surreal walkie-talkie gossip, and finally becoming an accidental, tasered hero.
It perfectly illustrates how heavily our internal baggage and past traumas can distort our perception of reality.
Yeah, turning a moment of potential grace into a total chaotic disaster.
When your internal world expects punishment, you unconsciously engineer situations that deliver it.
Which leaves you with a pretty heavy thought to mull over. If our internal monologue has the power to so radically distort reality, to make us manifest a 50,000-volt taser hit out of thin air, how often are the handcuffs we wear in life just the ones we've panicked and put on ourselves?
Yes,
Right at the exact moment the world is actually trying to give us an award. Something to definitely think about.